In the story of Dragon Ball, we've seen a number of powers displayed to us. Super strength, super speed, flight, and energy manipulation are only a few of the powers we've seen in this franchise. However, there's a number of cool abilities Dragon Ball's main story hasn't yet introduced. So in this video, we'll take a look at 5 powers Dragon Ball Super should introduce. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date on all upcoming videos in the future. The first power I'll be discussing is an ability which seems to be becoming more and more a necessity in Dragon Ball, and is perhaps the biggest weakness of the Z Fighters. That ability is to be able to survive in the vacuum of space or breathe underwater. As we've seen demonstrated in the past during our heroes' run-ins with the space tyrant Frieza, if the planet they're fighting on happens to be destroyed, they would all die in the vacuum of space. This is not a matter of their durability, as Goku, Vegeta, and perhaps even Krillin would survive such an explosion at this point, but rather it's their inability to survive and breathe in the vacuum of space which would kill them. And as the show continues to make these characters stronger, the likelihood of facing opponents who can and will destroy the planet is becoming far larger. Plus, it holds the show back in many ways. Who doesn't want to see Goku, Vegeta, or Piccolo fighting an opponent throughout a barren solar system, destroying planets with their unrestrained punches and ki blasts? Having to fight inside of an asteroid field with opponents using it to their advantage to launch sneak attacks, or even fighting on a world with an underwater civilization. Well, right now our heroes can't do any of this, and I think that needs to change. Introduce a character who can teach our heroes a special means to survive, create oxygen, or hold their breath indefinitely. Perhaps even have it be another technique Whis teaches everyone in preparation for the Tournament of Power. There's a number of ways to write this into the show, and I think all of them would make it far more interesting as a result. Another ability that could prove incredibly useful in Dragon Ball and additionally gives characters an edge regardless of power is intangibility, or the ability to phase through matter. This is an ability possessed by characters such as the Flash, Martian Manhunter, and the Vision, in which the user vibrates their molecules at a speed and frequency which allows them to become essentially untouchable in combat, or oftentimes allows them to escape captivity by literally passing through solid objects. Phasing is not only a defensive tactic, however, as it has offensive capabilities as well, as you can phase within another fighter and disrupt their molecular structure or remove various vital organs which Piccolo has a bad habit of missing. This is an ability which has extensive applications and would be a tremendous asset to our main characters. It would instantly boost anyone's offensive and defensive capabilities, taking weaker characters like Krillin and Tien and making them legitimate threats. Adding more abilities like this could only further de-emphasize the need for strength and make tactics far more relevant, which of course also leads into the next power I'll be discussing on this list. Characters in Dragon Ball have the ability to control the immense and abundant form of energy known as ki, which gives them their speed and power. But what if they can control the weather itself? The ability to control the weather, such as Storm from the X-Men can, would allow a fighter to gain significant tactical advantages over their opponent. They could create massive storms to alter the terrain, impair their opponent's view with fog, and buffet them with a blizzard or sandstorm. For fighters who can't sense ki, this would be a massive disadvantage, and for a fighter who can suppress themselves, they would be able to launch devastating sneak attacks. Although they may not be able to harm high-level fighters at this point with the storms themselves, the tactical applications of being able to manipulate the weather are something that has to place them high on the list of powers to learn. But what about another type of manipulation? What if Goku learned the ability to manipulate matter itself? Being able to control and manipulate matter down to the molecular level would take Goku's power to the very next level, not only allowing him to manipulate the world around him, but those he engages in combat with. Take Molecule Man from Marvel, for example. With his ability to control matter on a molecular structure, he could craft anything he willed, or turn it to dust on a whim. His power was seemingly without end, as he was able to rival pre-retcon Beyonder, who is one of the most powerful beings in comic book history, up there with characters like the Anti-Monitor and Thanos with the heart of the universe. Although not all with this ability have it to this immense level, if Goku or Earth's Special Forces attain this power, they would likely train it and increase its scope until even a character like Chaozu could wave his hand and destroy anyone in his path. Well, assuming they don't ask him to do math, then he's about as weak as Yamcha against a Cyberman. Poor Yamcha. But there is one ability which could even trump matter manipulation, and that is the ability to manipulate reality itself. Being able to totally circumvent the laws of physics, thermodynamics, and logic itself, and bend reality to your very whims. Characters like Mr. Mix, Franklin Richards, and the Mad Titan Thanos have used this ability to absurd degrees in the past, being able to change history, the order of planets, and even the flow of time. It even allowed Franklin Richards, the son of Reed Richards and Sue Storm from the Fantastic Four, to resurrect Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds himself. Additionally, Richards was so powerful that Galactus became his herald, much like the Silver Surfer was to Galactus. Richards would eventually go on to use his Omega-level powers to create another universe, billions of years later, showing just how impressive his power can truly be. While not all abilities to manipulate reality are this expansive or impressive, the applications of this power are seemingly endless, with it pretty much being second on the list of powers from omnipotence itself. We see a number of gods in Dragon Ball, but none with seemingly this level of power except perhaps Zeno himself. Now, reality warping was briefly touched on in the film Fusion Reborn, in which Janemba, the villain of the film, used his own form of the power to alter reality and allow the dead to return, as well as even creating a fake of Goku to repel an attack. However, this film is not strictly canon, as it doesn't fit into the continuity and the events of the Dragon Ball manga or even the anime itself. Furthermore, Janemba, while being a cool villain, is pretty much mindless, and the brief runtime of the film doesn't allow for these powers to be utilized to their maximum potential. It would be incredibly interesting to see a character with this sort of power in Dragon Ball. Perhaps they could start out on a lower level and slowly discover the full depths of this power. They could be a threat to our main characters or another ally to add to the team. Seeing Goku and his friends have to face a villain who is always in control to this degree and can wipe them out with a thought would certainly raise the tension levels to an unprecedented degree. But even giving it to someone like Master Roshi and seeing all the perverted things he created out of thin air would certainly make for some quality entertainment as well. Ultimately, I think these powers would be a good addition to Dragon Ball Super and the Dragon Ball franchise as a whole. These are not only powers that fix lagging problems, but would allow this series to evolve in new ways, potentially taking characters from irrelevant to irreplaceable overnight, making old new again, and opening up entirely new avenues and possibilities to explore. And I'm always readily anticipating whatever new direction the Dragon Ball franchise might take. Well, my name is Mike, and this has been another list I was bringing you about 5 powers Dragon Ball Super should introduce. Do you agree with this list, or do you have your own list that you would like to put down below? This was a top 5. However, there's a plethora of different techniques and abilities that characters could learn in Dragon Ball. Also, if you like this video, please drop a like and subscribe to this channel so that you could see all videos like this right away when they come out on this channel. And as I always say, stick around, because there's a lot more to come in the future.
And you better subscribe!